Parents who tried their best to raise their kids to be good humans but they turned out to be jerks. What do you wish you did differently?
You don't have to win every power struggle. I don't have jerk kids, but I do think I've learned a lot from having 4 very different kids, and I think too many parents 1. Think the same strategies work for all kids, i.e., rule consequence behavior falls in line, rinse and repeat, and 2. Focus on the behavior rather than the cause. If you have a kid who doesn't respond to your parenting style/philosophy, you should rethink your approach. It's not all the kid's fault. Some kids will burn their lives to the ground to make a point. I have one like that. For too long, it was a vicious cycle of kid acts out, I punish. Kid is angry, acts out more. I punish harder. Kid is angrier, acts out even more. I punish even harder. And on and on and on and on. Something needs to break the cycle. For instance, if your kid is challenging your authority, it's usually a bid for more independence. They're trying to be more mature, and they want your adult respect. You don't have to excuse the bad behavior. Consequences are okay, but you also have to look for ways to help your kid get that need met. You don't have to tie it to the actual incident, so it doesn't look like a reward. Give them more responsibility for themselves. Let him walk to school alone if he doesn't get to do that. Quit bugging him so much about what he does with his free time, even if you think he should be getting more fresh air. Look for any opportunity to let him choose something. We're going to do something as a family on Sunday. You can choose what we do, or where we eat, or whatever. Don't tell him when he has to do his chores. Let him set his Saturday schedule. I need you to mow the lawn and do the dishes today. You can do it any time between now and 6 p.m. If you address the cause of the behavior, it's going to do way more to correct a bad behavior, and you'll also get more respect from your kid. If you insist on winning every power struggle, your kid is going to see everything as a fight. Edit: I need to give my wife credit for helping me understand this over the years. She's not only a great mom and wife, she's also a really good therapist. She's gained a lot of perspective working with other kids and parents and working on those relationships.
My brother's sister-in-law knew there was something off with her son when he was around 2-3. All of the doctors and grandparents were just like, he needs more discipline, and so on. That wasn't it. She stuck with it. Turns out he's a sociopath. Luckily it was caught early enough and they could afford all of the psychiatrist, psychologist, group therapy, and so on, that he's learned how he's supposed to act in the world. Last I talked to them, he was completely off medication and thriving in school, had to be homeschooled till around 9 to 10. Added to everyone questioning his diagnosis. That's the therapy he went through. There's a documentary about it out there I'm sure you can all find with no difficulty.
I have one child, the youngest, who I'm starting to worry about. He's tall, athletic, attractive, and very charismatic. I feel like it's a constant battle between teaching him respect and humility and the worship he gets at school. At his age, he's not prepared to deal with all these peers who want his attention, tell him how great he is, and the girls lining up to talk to him. Yeah, don't we all wish we had this problem as teens? Anyway, it's a struggle. He's gotten cocky and thinks life will just keep on treating him like a king. And maybe it will. He's got the type of personality that makes people want him around. But he needs to treat others with the same respect he expects for himself. Confidence is good, but it needs to be combined with kindness. Our other children are very level-headed and what we feel are good people. I hope we get to properly tech this to our youngest and that he takes it to heart and chooses to be a good person.
My grandma traumatized me after years of emotional abuse. It wasn't anything extremely toxic, but it doesn't take much to mess with a small kid, especially if they're sensitive like I was. I went super low contact with her in my 20s, and my relationship with my family is a bit strained because I don't trust my parents on an emotional level. I cried and begged them not to leave me alone with my grandma, but they rarely listened. Overall, they're great parents, but it still sucks that happened. So less of advice on how to make your kid less of a jerk and more how to prevent traumatic experiences. If your kid shows some aversion, to a particular family member, asked them why. My mom told me as an adult that she didn't realize how cruel my grandma had been to me until I gave verbatim quotes as a high schooler.
I think the important thing is just to keep in mind that the baby is a person, and as the baby grows, they're going to develop their own wants and needs and feelings independently of yours. If you keep that in mind and you're otherwise a good person, you're already off to a great start. Just don't tip too far the other way and forget to be an authority figure instead of a friend. Don't get too hung up on do this or don't do this. Every kid is going to be different. Some kids are going to need independence. Some are not. Some kids are going to share interests with you. Some won't. The trick is to straddle that line between I recognize that you don't want to play football. Let's get you something else to play, and I recognize that you don't want to play football. Here's some Mountain Dew and a PC with unrestricted internet access. Go develop some bad habits.
In my opinion, the one defining characteristic of bad parents is being resentful of their own children, resentful that they took some of their freedom, resentful of their youth, resentful of their opportunities, resentful of their intelligence, resentful of their beauty, resentful of their possessions, resentful of their education, resentful of their accomplishments, resentful of their happiness, etc. I think this is far more common than most people realize. These parents may consciously provide for their kids while they unconsciously sabotage them. The kids pick up on this and end up aspiring to their parents' unspoken expectations. Good parents want their kids to exceed their own achievements and, most importantly, to be happy. Good parents are empathetic to their children. They're happy when their kids are happy. They're sad when their kids are sad. Resentful parents don't really want their kids to be happy unless they credit the parents for their happiness. No achievement belongs to the kids, but every failure does.
My parents. My mom was hyper-involved while my dad immediately detached the minute we stopped being cute and started having opinions. I see him doing it to his grandkids now. Mom put us in every event, sport, extracurricular. Dad never attended and often had no idea what we did with our time. Mom pushed us to excel academically and we often were doing super high-level classes. Dad assumed we were lazy because we were often tired and didn't have jobs. Hard when you have a double class load as a high school freshman. Dad was also pretty verbally abusive, to me, at least. Mom knew we had a negative relationship but never pried and never got involved. She doesn't know how far it went, to be fair, which also sucked. I think my mom would have been an awesome parent if she had an equal partner, but instead we had an absentee and someone too involved in being everything to actually listen to what was going on.